r/AskReddit created by routinereddit. Part 2 of 2 serious late night hikers. What is the creepiest thing you have seen while hiking? I go out for walks very late at night fairly often, so I've seen a few things. The creepiest though, happened about 2 months ago. I left the house around 1:30 am, and it started off as a normal walk. I wandered around the town till about 2 am, when I decided to go home. I was walking back the route I had came, when I noticed a black van meander down the street. Didn't really pay too much attention to it though, at first. I did pay attention though, when I saw it slowly drive by me for a second time. I wasn't entirely sure it was the same van though, so I just continued walking. But this time I kept an eye out. And lo and freaking behold, about 10 minutes later, the same dang black van came down the street again. This time I knew for sure, because it didn't have license plates. Now I was fairly scared, so I picked my pace up a little bit. When the van came around again this time, it stopped in the middle of the road a few houses in front of me. I stopped, turned around, and booked it back in the other direction. I made a few turns onto different roads, and then ran right into someone's yard. I waited behind their fence, and the same freaking van came down the street. I assumed that, when they couldn't find me, they finally decided to back off. But I waited in that yard for about 20 minutes, before I ran back to my house and practically threw myself through my bedroom window. Edit, u/Jeffrey K. It isn't letting me respond to your comment lol, but I'm more of an insomniac edit too, because this is like the most asked question. Yes, I'm a guy. Also told to put in here that I was 15 when it happened. That's terrifying. Yay, almost getting kidnapped is scarier than going nose to nose with a bear. For sure. Fun fact, fight for your life. If you are being kidnapped, even if you get shot or stabbed, you're more likely to never be found if you are pulled into a vehicle. While it did not happen during the hike, rather the camping, it was still the creepiest thing I've experienced out there. Was working at a summer camp for kids and we went on an overpass outing. Had a cougar circle our camp from around 11 PM to roughly 5 AM. It was crying out, hoping one of us would separate from the group. I stayed up all night with bear spray and a hatchet, keeping an eye on it with the other staff. I'm from Australia, and I know everyone goes on about how everything here is out to kill you, but at least we don't have cougars to contend with. That scares the crap out of me. Not on a trail, but walking my dog late at night. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. My dog rang her bell and I begrudgingly got up to take her outside. When she wants to pee in the middle of the night, I don't take her very far, just in our side yard. I took a flashlight with me in case she decided to poo, so I could pick it up. I'm standing there waiting for her to do her thing. She is doing the doggy walk in a circle thing. Then all of a sudden the dog gets spooked and whips around. Out of the corner of my eye I see this chick just standing there. I didn't see her walk up. I didn't hear her walk up. I just see her standing there super still. Based on her position, she had to have come from between my house and my neighbor's house. Which is odd, because behind our house is back up to a green belt. It is probably 40 degrees outside and this lady, about 20, is in super short shorts and a t-shirt. I looked at her, told her she scared me, and she mumbled something like, "Nice night, what are you up to?" Standing there holding the leash with my dog, I said, "I'm walking my dog." Then she said, "Cool, cool. Do you know how to get into my house? I locked myself out." Pointing to my neighbor's house. Now, I'm a good American. I know my neighbors, and this wasn't my neighbor, who is a single 30-year-old female. She hangs out with my wife, so I know her really well. So I asked her, "That house?" Pointing directly at my neighbor's house. She nodded. I said, "You don't live there. I know who lives there." She just scoffed and wandered her way into my backyard. I followed her, said, "What the heck are you doing?" She then took off running, scaled my fence, which item of note, it isn't an easy fence to scale. It is a deer fence. It is a see-through fence that goes up 3 feet with cattle gate. Then the top of the fence is stainless steel wire that runs horizontally. It is the type of thing that, if you weren't expecting it, you'd easily trip over as it is extremely hard to see, and not very common. Anyways, she scales the fence, and ran away into the green belt. I always have a pocket knife on me, and was fortunate enough to have my, unfortunately, useless dog. So I looked around my house, neighbor's house for other people, shined my light in the green belt, and nothing. I have no idea how she wound up back there, what she was doing, what she intended to do, but she scared the ever-living crap out of me. Edit. Green belt, unincorporated land, zone to never have anything built on it, i.e., backing up to the edge of a forest, cliff, etc. In my case it was a wooded area for about 1/2 mile of nothing. Rattlesnakes, deer, mongooses, etc. live in that green belt. Edit 2. Thanks for the gold. As an astute redditor pointed out, mongooses and rattlesnakes don't coexist in any region in the world. It is Texas and I've seen crazy stuff back there. Possums, roadrunners, owls, coyotes, bobcats, deer, regularly, lots of snakes, skunks, etc. I'm not an expert on local fauna, so I guess Rikki Tikki Tavi doesn't live back there. I just know there are tons of thorns and assorted shrubbery that make it an awful place to chill. Common questions. Was she hot? In a different context, maybe. As a creeper chick leaping deer fences like Jason Bourne? No. Is my neighbor a lesbian looking for strange? No, she isn't a lesbian. Was it a meth head? This is my best guess. It was late, and she had the leaping abilities of a kangaroo. It was in the summer around dusk, and I was camping at a remote campground with my dad. There was a lake right next to the grounds and my dad and I would trail blase through the forest right next to the lake, because if you went far enough there was a really pretty waterfall. A few strange things happened on this hike. We found a slash pile that had a little kid's shoe on top. When we came to a small clearing, my dad had to take a leak to he faced one side of the clearing and I faced the other, and we both clearly heard a child say, "I'm over here." My dad thought it was me, and when he realized it wasn't, we spent half an hour looking for someone, but we found nobody. After that, we gave up on going to the waterfall and started to make our way back to camp, but there were clear sounds of something following us. Twigs snapping, bushes shaking. We haven't been camping there since. Holy crap. Why am I reading this at midnight? Almost midnight for me. And while camping I'm so smart. Not super scary, but was camping with a few buddies once pretty far out in a sort of sand dune type terrain in Australia. The plan was to just hike to a good spot we knew well and get drunk. We got to the spot and pitched tents and were chilling. Our spot is on top of a really high dune, because the view from the top was just mesmerizing with the ocean and wilderness. Anyways, we just got the campfire started, and out of nowhere this jeep just comes flying over the lip of this hill right next to us and almost crushes a few friends of mine and one of the tents. Like I said, this sand dune is really high up, so I have no idea how they managed to get up it at the speed they did. They slammed the brakes and no one can get a look at them as the windows were tinted, and sped off over the dunes. That was more chaotic and random, but the creepy part was about an hour later I went off to do a piss in a bush nearby and was looking down the hill and just saw a figure staring up at me. Friend of mine came behind me to piss in a bush next to me and scared the crap out of me. When I pointed the figure out to my mate, it just took off over a lip of a hill. Definitely a night I won't forget, and I don't think I've returned to that spot since. Edit. I should have added all this was at night time. Edit 2. Cannot believe I missed out this part, but this occurred around 3 years ago, and about 2 months ago human remains were found right next to our spot. Scary crap goes on in those dunes, I tell you. In regards to your edit, when specially was this? Because the human remains Found a couple months ago at Burns Beach belonged to a man who went missing exactly 3 years ago when you were there. And now I'm scared crapless you encountered the killer. Whoa. I've never thought of that. Now I'm actually crapping myself that we could have been getting stalked by a murderer.